The Philippines, it's great. You have an amazing player. Alexandra is unbelievable, and I think it's great for the Philippines, for the people, for the tennis fans in the Philippines to have such an amazing player. That's
Yes.
really great, and that yeah, we can talk
Yeah.
to each other.
Sandra Reichel has seen countless players come through the Linz Open over the years. Top talents, rising stars, and championship moments that have helped shape the event into one of the most respected stops on the WTA calendar. She understands what a typical draw looks like, what new players usually bring, and what kind of reaction to expect from the crowd. But then Eala entered the field, and everything changed. Reichel didn't stay in the background. She stepped forward personally and publicly, welcoming Eala with visible excitement. And now the reason is becoming impossible to ignore. Ticket sales for Eala's opening round match haven't just been strong. They've surged at a level that's redefining expectations for the tournament, creating a buzz that goes far beyond a typical first-round appearance.
And
Yeah.
it's great always to welcome new players and newcomers and players who will own the future, I would say. So it's great, yeah, to welcome Alexandra here in Linz in this special year, and it's also our first
Yes.
time that we play on clay.
On clay.
Let's start with Sandra Reichel, because her words capture this entire moment better than anything else. As she oversees the Linz Open during its 35th anniversary, she didn't just speak about Eala as a competitor. She highlighted what Eala represents as a global presence arriving in Austria. Reichel openly acknowledged that Eala is bringing a level of attention, energy, and fan engagement that is reshaping the tournament from within. She confirmed that Eala would be scheduled on the event's biggest court, a clear and deliberate decision that signals the scale of expectations surrounding her appearance. But she didn't stop there. Reichel went a step further, stating that she would personally be there to welcome Eala to the tournament. That kind of gesture goes beyond routine promotion or standard pre-tournament messaging. It reflects a level of anticipation and recognition that is rarely extended to a first-round player, underscoring just how significant this moment has become for the event. This is the director of one of the sport's longest-running events stepping forward on record and making it clear that this moment matters at the highest level of the organization. For a tournament celebrating its 35th year like the Linz Open, that kind of personal gesture from Sandra Reichel speaks volumes about what Eala represents right now, not just as a competitor, but as a presence capable of reshaping the atmosphere of an entire event the moment she arrives. And the numbers are backing up every word. Reports indicate that around 90 of the tickets for Eala's opening round match were sold almost immediately after release, virtually disappearing in an instant. What makes it even more remarkable is that a large portion of those tickets were not driven solely by local Austrian interest, but by a surge of dedicated Eala supporters, fans who are organized, passionate, and fully committed to turning the stadium into a charged, high-energy environment for her appearance. This means Julia Grabher is about to step onto the court in her own country, at her home tournament, and face a crowd that may overwhelmingly be behind Eala instead. What should have been a clear home court advantage could feel very different, as the expected support from local fans shifts into a more divided, or even opposing, atmosphere. That's the kind of impact Eala is having right now, and it's unfolding in the heart of Austria at the Linz Open. But as striking as Sandra Reichel's reaction has been, and as impressive as the ticket demand looks, it also reflects a broader pattern. She isn't the first tournament director to respond this way to Eala. Rather, she's the latest in a growing list of organizers who have seen her arrive and responded with the same approach, placing her on the biggest stages, welcoming her openly, and recognizing the unique energy and attention she brings to their events. In the beginning at the Indian Wells Open, tournament director Tommy Haas witnessed something completely unexpected as demand for Eala's matches surged far beyond projections, forcing organizers to react in real time to the overwhelming response. One of her matches alone reportedly generated around 5 million in ticket sales, an astonishing figure that sent shockwaves across the tennis world and highlighted just how massive her draw had become. Haas didn't downplay it. He openly acknowledged that Eala had created a level of excitement rarely seen from a single player in recent years. That same pattern carried over to the Miami Open. where James Blake made the bold decision to place her on center court, recognizing that her presence wasn't just about performance. It was about attendance, energy, and the overall commercial pulse of the event. From Indian Wells to Miami and now to the Linz Open under Sandra Reichel, the pattern is unmistakable. Tournament directors are not just welcoming Eala. They are adapting to her, elevating her to the biggest stages because they understand the scale of impact she brings the moment she arrives. Across the WTA calendar, one pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. From the Indian Wells Open to the Miami Open and now the Linz Open, tournament directors are all reaching the same conclusion. When Eala arrives, you put her on the biggest stage, you step forward to welcome her, and you prepare for an atmosphere your event may have never experienced before. And none of this would matter if the tennis didn't match the moment, but it does. Eala isn't just generating attention. She's backing it up with performances that place her firmly in the top-tier conversation. Her win over Coco Gauff, one of the sport's biggest names, sent a clear message across the tour that she can beat elite competition on major stages. That result has only fueled her fanbase further, giving supporters more reason to travel, organize, and show up in overwhelming numbers wherever she plays. Even experienced players like Jessica Pegula, who are used to high-pressure environments, have acknowledged the unique intensity that comes with facing Eala, highlighting just how different the atmosphere becomes when she's on the court. Jessica Pegula wasn't walking into her Miami Open match against Eala unprepared for noise or atmosphere, but what she encountered, by her own account, was something on an entirely different level. The crowd wasn't just observing the match. They were fully immersed in it, reacting to every point, every winner, every rally with a level of intensity and emotional investment that Pegula described as unlike anything she had experienced before. It didn't matter whether it was the Australian Open, Dubai, or Miami. Wherever Eala competes, that same wave of energy seems to follow, creating an environment that most players rarely encounter at any point in their careers. Now, that same atmosphere is set to arrive in Linz, where Julia Grabher, who has built her career representing Austria and relying on home support in key moments, is about to face a scenario far different from what she expected when the draw was made. She won't just be competing against one of the most exciting players on tour. She'll be stepping into an environment where the crowd, the energy, and the overwhelming support behind her opponent could make her feel like the visitor in her own tournament. The psychological challenge in a situation like this is immense, and it's something very few players ever have to face on home soil. Julia Grabher may find herself without the usual spotlight, as attention, headlines, and energy are directed almost entirely toward Eala. Even the gestures surrounding the event, from the personal welcome by Sandra Reichel to the allocation of the biggest court at the Linz Open, reflect where the focus lies. With 35 years of experience running this tournament, Reichel recognized early that something different had arrived in her draw. The surge in ticket demand, the elevated stage placement, and the direct personal acknowledgement all point to a player whose presence is reshaping the event itself. This pattern has already been seen at tournaments like Indian Wells Open and the Miami Open, and now it is unfolding again in Linz. The question now is whether Grabher can rise above the atmosphere, handle the pressure, and produce a home upset, or whether the weight of the moment, combined with the overwhelming support behind her opponent, proves too much to overcome.